Hey, welcome back to Two Old Geeks Talking. I'm Rob.
I'm Ben Kenobi.
Obi Wan Kenobi.
Obi Wan Kenobi. Obi Wan. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. A long time. Since before you were born.
It's been a long time ago.
So, I guess it's pretty obvious I'm a Obi Wan Kenobi fan.
Right?
And so, do you remember the first time we saw Obi Wan Kenobi?
Episode 1.
That's actually it was episode 4.
What?
Yeah, it was episode 4 is where they started. 1977 was episode 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but it was a drive-in, and I was 11 and you were younger, and we got to see Alec Guinness portray Obi Wan Kenobi. What did you think about Alec Guinness?
Well, okay, so he's kind of a classical actor for me, and most classical actors brings an air of elegance to a role, and I think that's what he brought to Obi-Wan. He wasn't like Han Solo, who was just a kid from like American Graffiti. He actually had an elegance about him, a training,
Absolutely. Yeah. He was like a classically trained actor. So,
right.
A lot like Patrick Stewart, what he did for Jean-Luc Picard is what Alec Guinness did for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, in my opinion, like if you're a good actor, if you're portraying something realistic, okay. But you got to be an exceptional actor to portray science fiction and fantasy because you're trying to make believe believable. And in an interview, he said Alec Guinness says George Lucas had said that what you're doing is a mixture between a samurai and a monk.
Right.
I think he really nailed that, and really, to be honest with you, he kind of set the stage. He was the first Jedi we saw, so he kind of set the stage for all Jedi from that.
I think George Lucas was actually wanting one of the Asian actors to play Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert, Alec Guinness, the Obi-Wan character, got killed in episode 4. He'd come back as a Force ghost in the rest of the saga. And so I've always been drawn to the mentor. So like when I watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I like Splinter. When I watch Karate Kid, I like Mr. Miyagi. When I watch Lord of the Rings, I like Gandalf. And even as a kid, when we were little, when I watched Star Wars, I was drawn toward Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that was my first action figures, was the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure.
Yeah.
Which I think you still have.
No, actually, I lost it in the yard at Green Meadows.
Oh, well.
I think I dug a hole and stuck him in there and forgot.
Oh, well. It happens when you dig holes.
Yeah, right.
So the original trilogy was done, and so we think that's the end of the saga, and they decided to come out with the prequels. And we hear that there's going to be a new actor portraying a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor. And what do you think? What did you think of him?
I think he did a good portrayal, and still yet was able to make the role his own. It's kind of like he was adding to the portrayal and not trying to water down what was or take away from what was.
Yeah, he did a great job of trying to get Alec Guinness's mannerisms down.
Right.
So you'd see him do little motions like this, little things that Alec had done, talk with his hands. And so what I like about the prequels is, of course, being a fan of Obi-Wan, you could see him in episode 1 as a Padawan, episode 2 as a Jedi, and episode 3 as a Jedi Master. And so you see Ewan McGregor kind of get closer to that Alec Guinness character, the farther the original prequels went. So once the prequels ended, we thought that was it for Star Wars. And as a matter of fact, in our previous Star Wars video, we didn't talk much at all about episode 3. So the last time we saw Obi-Wan, he'd gone through some emotional stuff. So he'd had a Padawan that he trained that rose to the ranks and turned to the dark side.
Right.
So what you run into, that's similar to like if you're a parent and you see your child take a bad path. And so the emotional trauma that took on Obi-Wan was pretty evident by the end of episode 3. In fact, they come to blows in one of the longest lightsaber battles in the entire saga. I think it was like 20 minutes long.
Yeah, right.
Where Obi-Wan fought Anakin, his former student. So a lot of people think that's the best lightsaber battle. For me personally, I thought episode 1's lightsaber battle between young Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. I thought that was the best. Which ones do you think that was the best?
The one on what's the planet with the lava?
Mustafar.
Mustafar.
Yeah, episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. And all those were choreographed by Nick Collard. He did episodes 1, 2, and 3, and he's a fantastic fight master and sword master. And I mean, it's evident when you saw that. In the original trilogy, you had Obi-Wan as an old man. You had Darth Vader as a half man, half robot. So their fighting skills wasn't at their prime. So when you saw them in episode 3, then they're doing all these acrobatic moves and they're in their prime, and it was pretty amazing to see. So at the end of episode 3, Obi-Wan thinks he killed Anakin.
Right.
So he cut his arm off and both legs and left him on fire next to a lava river, which you would think that would do it.
Yeah.
but
that would have done me in.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so we think that's it as far as the Obi-Wan saga. Well, then Disney buys Star Wars. Why'd you laugh? Well, anyway, so Disney is originally going to make a Kenobi movie, and they even announced they're going to make a Kenobi movie. So I personally was excited because I'm going to get 2 more hours of Kenobi. And it's going to be in between episodes 3 and 4, whenever he was in exile and he was preparing to train Luke. So I was really looking forward to that. Well, the sequel trilogy really got panned. Fans didn't like it. The vast majority of them didn't. And then Solo was the first Star Wars movie to actually lose money.
Yeah, that was
so
bad.
Disney had started this fledgling streaming service called Disney Plus, and it still hasn't made a profit to this day. They're thinking they might make a profit in 2024, 2025.
Are you joking?
No, because they've sunk so much money into it, and they're waiting to get the dividends later on, and they just haven't. So a couple things are going on. Number one, you had a Star Wars movie lose money. Number two, we've got to have content for this new streaming service. So they're like, let's take Kenobi and move it from movie status into a series. So first, I'm excited because most series are 10 one-hour episodes.
Right.
So I'm thinking, wow, I went from getting 2 hours of Kenobi, now I'm going to get 10 hours.
10 hours.
When they're like, we're not going to make it 10 hours. We're going to make it. 6. We're not going to make it 10 episodes. We're going to make it 6 episodes. Right. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Still, 6 hours.
That's 3 times more than 2.
Of Kenobi instead of 2 hours. Well, then they're like, we're not going to make each episode an hour. So the total runtime of the Kenobi series was about 3.5 hours, give or take. So it was like a long movie, like Endgame, Marvel, Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
So, was you excited about the Kenobi series?
Oh, yeah. I've got so many facts and stuff memorized about Kenobi because I looked into his history long before they even decided to do like a sneak peek in this time era. And so, yeah, I've always been a fan of Kenobi.
So, when the Kenobi series come out, I was really, really excited about it. And we're going to give you our honest review. He's watched it with me. I've watched it with him, but we haven't talked about it. So we're going to talk about it here today. But the stance I'm going to take is you've got a lot of shield sites. And what that means is a lot of critics anymore, it's hard to get an honest critic rating because critics get paid to criticize. But a lot of these companies pay them to give favorable reviews. So you get a lot of shield sites like Rotten Tomatoes. You can't even believe their critics at all. What you have to do is you have to look at the audience score. People like you and me, they give their honest opinions because we're not getting paid. But then on the other side, you get these shields on one side. On the other side, you've got these YouTubers for the most part that have quite a few subscribers, and they hate everything. They hate this, they hate that. Oftentimes they'll hate it even before it comes out because hate is the path to the dark side, and it's easier to do. So a lot of people just want to criticize everything. Now, the original trilogy I loved. it has flaws. The prequel trilogy I loved. It had its flaws. Sequel trilogy I didn't care for. And but I just when it comes to reviewing the Kenobi series, I wanted to, on my portion of the review, is tell you things I liked, and then tell you something I didn't. Go back and forth.
Oh.
So, first of all, having Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back together,
yeah,
it was fantastic. Just seeing those two actors. Now, when you make 3 films together, that's a big portion of your life. You got to imagine like somebody you went to high school with for 4 years. So those guys had to be close. So what did you think about seeing them both on screen at the same time?
So I was excited as all pissed as when, is that a phrase? Mm-hmm. I was excited as hell when I heard it. I saw Darth Vader, and I was excited. When I seen it was actual Hayden Christensen, I mean, because you wouldn't have known that it was him, and because of the voice, which, it was the voice.
Right.
So, yeah, I was excited. I was like, this is too cool. But like you said, they had intended for this to be a movie. So they'd already thrown the bucks at it to begin with. So, yeah, I was excited to see him back.
So I think that, not only was I excited to see it back, I think I felt the excitement of those two actors being able to work together after all that time. Yeah. And you saw several interviews that were posted online that, Ewan McGregor said, seeing Hayden, it was like no time that went by at all, being able to work with him again. Now, so that was positive about the series. One of the negatives is like one of the second episodes, that little Leia, and she's running from some mercenaries. And I know it's make-believe, but she's a 10-year-old girl, and these are trained guys, and they're like running through the woods trying to catch her. And it was so comical. It looked like something out of the Three Stooges. There was one portion where a mercenary is running at her, and there's like a branch about nipple level. And so she ducks underneath it, and he just like runs up to it like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm thinking, dude, I'm pretty sure you can figure this out. Go under or over. But anyway, they couldn't catch this 10-year-old girl. And just seeing that, I know it's science fiction, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah, there was parts to what, I'm sorry, I just got the hiccups all of a sudden. There was parts to where I know she was a well-minded young lady, but they had her almost acting as if she was already a mature, minded person.
Yeah, 10 years old.
Not the mind of a kid.
Right. Yeah, one of the things I did like when you finally got to see Hayden on there and they were doing a lightsaber battle, and it was when Hayden still had the braid.
Yeah.
And
now, that was cool, but he was showing his age at the time.
Yeah, he was showing his age, and they've got de-aging software. I mean, you see that. You see that all the time.
They didn't use it.
They said they used it, but if they used it, they used it ineffectively.
Yeah,
I mean, somebody put a poster of him under like 40-year-old virgin, because I mean he was showing his age, like you said.
Right.
But for me, who grew up in an era without CGI, and I watched little Ray Harryhausen monsters and stuff, and was thrilled by it. I could suspend disbelief. Yeah, I know that's old Hayden. If you had de-aged him, I would have still known it was old Hayden. But yeah, that was it did kind of take you out of the scene a little bit. But I still like the scene because the lightsaber battle was, I like good martial arts.
Right.
It was pretty well done.
That was well done, but wasn't my favorite one in that show.
Oh, no. By all means, I agree. So one of the things that I didn't like was the first time I guess you call it the rematch. The first time Obi-Wan faces Darth Vader again.
Right.
And Darth Vader's really pummeling him. I think it should have been, I don't mind the fact that Darth Vader won, and I know that Obi-Wan was out of practice, but, this had been a Jedi Master who was at some point going to train Luke. So I would think that he would have kept up with his skills. I haven't taught karate in 11 years, but I still practice it.
How much time span was supposed to have happened between Anakin getting burned and them actually meeting again? Because he'd been out
10 years.
So he'd been out 10 years without, like, you're a martial artist.
Yeah.
If you don't practice at all for 10 years and then you were asked to do a roundhouse kick, You think you'd be able to do it as you did?
No. But if I was thinking that there was a young boy that I was going to have to train at some point, then I would probably try to keep my skills up, because I wouldn't want them to drop if I was going to try to teach him.
Right.
So, but to me, I don't mind Vader winning that first little match, but like Obi-Wan actually like literally ran. He's like, Vader ignited his lightsaber, and at one point he ran, and a lot of people joked and said he's looking for high ground. But anyway, that was my thoughts on that. Now, one of the actresses that was in this series is, and I'm probably gonna kill the name, is Indira Varma, and she played Varla, and
the Inquisitor.
No. She played the one that was the woman that was worked for the Empire. She was an officer, and she had changed,
like
dark hair.
Double agent.
Yeah, I seen her in a HBO series called Rome. I've seen her in Game of Thrones, and she's just a fantastic actress. And I've never seen her give a bad performance. And I mean, she really sold that make-believe story.
Right.
I thought she did real good, and I really enjoyed seeing her. Now, you mentioned the actress that played Reva, Moses Ingram, I think her name is.
Yeah, that was not good.
No, and a lot of people say that, well, it's because of the lines that she had written. I don't know if she was overwhelmed because it was her first real big production. I'm not trying to make excuses for the girl, but I'm saying her acting skill was about on the same level as that 10-year-old little girl. Their acting was about the same.
Actually, the 10-year-old little girl probably pulled it off better.
You could argue that point. So it wasn't my dislike of the character. It wasn't my dislike of the dialogue. It was, I'll just be honest with you, it wasn't good acting.
Right.
And so a lot of Star Wars employees or Disney itself said that, they try to say you shouldn't criticize that. And they even came out and said, you're not a Star Wars fan unless you like.
I'm not getting paid by Disney.
unless you like all Star Wars. Well, that's ridiculous. Who ever heard that? You're not a Star Trek fan unless you like all Star Trek. You're not a Lord of the Rings fan unless you like all Lord of the Rings. We're paying for this. When you buy Disney Plus, I'm putting my money out there.
Right.
And if I go out to a restaurant and I order chicken, even though I've eaten chicken my entire life, if you give me crappy piece of chicken, then I can voice my opinion on it.
Yeah.
And so she didn't do very good. Now, one thing I did like was, I know you didn't watch Rebels.
No, not.
And one of these days you should, because I think you'd enjoy it. But they had the Inquisitors on there. Inquisitors was really introduced in Rebels, and a lot of them was Padawans or even former Jedi. The Grand Inquisitor was a Jedi Temple guard that once the Empire took over, they killed who they had to kill and converted who they could convert.
That's sad.
Yeah, and so they used the Inquisitors to hunt down Jedi, because Darth Vader can't be everywhere and hunt down. There was probably 1,000 Jedi left at the end of Episode 3, so to hunt those all down, you'd need help, and
right.
that's who you used, the Inquisitors. So it was nice to see them. What was your thoughts on them?
Well, I mean, my thing is okay, I know that the Sith had not grown, and I understand converting people, kind of like Anakin was converted, right?
Yeah.
So I understand the premise. I think it's sad, because I would think that anybody who saw the fall of their temple and their way of life, like I said before, Obi-Wan was born on Stu-Jon, brought to the Jedi Temple at 6 months old, started training at 12, and I'm sure that's the way most Jedis were. So it was their life. It wasn't something they chose to do. It was something they were abducted into. It was all they know. So to see these people turn into Inquisitors means that they either tapped in onto a bad side that existed down low, which we all have, or they just never were faithful to begin with. It just kind of mind blew me.
Yeah, I like the Inquisitors. I like that little added part to canon. One thing I didn't like about the series was they concentrated on Leia and not Luke. There's been several comic books put out by Marvel, and at the end of this video, I'll show some merchandise. some of the things I've collected over the years. But there's been several comics put out by Marvel where they talk about Obi-Wan trying to protect Luke from different things on Tatooine without revealing himself. And they've really done a good job. And to be honest with you, our giveaway for today, if you're a subscriber and you like and comment, is a hardback book called Kenobi. It's considered non-canon. It's considered legends. But it's very well written. And to be honest with you, it's a better story than the Kenobi series. Even though I like the Kenobi series, it's a better story. Okay. What do you think about him concentrating on Leia versus Luke?
I necessarily didn't have a problem with it because the whole first 3 series was about Luke. So the fact that they kind of had the main story not revolve, it was about Obi-Wan, but it wasn't concentrated on Luke. And plus, because of Owen, you know, he wasn't letting him get close to him anyway. It was kind of cool that the, how do they say her last, Princess O'Donnell
or Organa,
yeah. That the Organas kind of reached out to him, and because they were close anyway. So I had no problem with it. I thought it was kind of cool. And plus, you know, it was tit for tat on who they were going to train to be a Jedi anyway. If you read some of the lore, whether it was going to be Leia or Luke anyway.
Right.
You know, we always just assumed it was Luke, but if you read some of the books, it's kind of like some people were leaning towards Leia.
Well, one of my favorite things was when the last battle, whenever they slashed Darth Vader's helmet. You can see Hayden's face in it.
Now, that was kind of reminiscent to the
Rebels.
cartoon.
Rebels, yeah, when Ahsoka fought Darth Vader. But I mean, you hear his voice being Anakin, switching to Darth,
yeah,
going
like
back
the voice
and forth,
thing was kind of messed up.
and you hear the breathing not quite right, like it was at.
Kind of like my breathing.
Yeah, kind of like your breathing. And but I mean, that battle, you know, I enjoyed that battle and portions of it, but I really like when you could see Hayden Christensen inside that mask, and that's really the first time you saw like part Darth, part Anakin, and then when he said, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did."
Right, which kind of harks back to where he told, you know, your father was killed by Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You know, because we always thought, well, why the hell did he lie to the boy?
And you know, and the thing is, I think that Anakin was trying to let Obi-Wan off the hook because let's say you do have a child that takes a wrong turn. It's their decisions that lead them down that path. You feel responsible as a parent. You know, Obi-Wan felt responsible for Anakin, but ultimately it was Anakin's actions that led him to where he was. And I think when he looked at Obi-Wan and he said, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did," I think it was actually him trying to help his old master. I think it was him. I think he knew his old master was
in turmoil.
And I think there for a brief second, looking eye to eye instead of through a mask, he was trying to let him know, look,
I'm not the man I was.
I'm not the man I was, and it was because of decisions I made, not because of actions you did. And I think that kind of lifted a big weight off of Obi-Wan. So one thing I didn't like is like when you're playing Star Wars video game, lots of times they take force powers and just shoot them off the scale. So like at the end when, you know, I love Obi-Wan, but at the end when Obi-Wan like lifts 27 boulders, and he just like cast them at Obi-Wan. Or even when Darth Vader grabbed that ship and kept it from flying away and then just like tearing pieces out of it using the Force.
That was badass though.
It's badass, but to me it's kind of overpowered. So somewhere between Obi-Wan going like this and casting tons of boulders and Darth Vader stopping his ship with using the Force, in episode 4, they couldn't do that. So something happened. Maybe they, I don't know, maybe they got too much sugar in their diet, ate too many carbs or whatever, but obviously their Force skills went down. But overall, the entire series, I give it an 8 out of 10. And I enjoyed it, and I recommend it. It's got its flaws. It's got its good points. I give it an 8 out of 10. What do you give it?
Dude, so I was going to be more conservative and say 7, but when I seen that lightsaber battle to where I actually seen Darth, like in the original movies, he's doing this. But when I seen Darth literally moving and kicking ass, okay, so like you've always liked the father figure.
Yeah.
I've always liked the villains.
Yeah.
So when I got to see Darth Vader in his full glory whipping ass, I was like, yeah. So I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah. You know why Obi Wan Kenobi holds his hands out like this?
It's a style of training he did.
No, he's telling you how many pieces he's going to cut you in. 2. I'm going to cut you in 2 pieces.
I'm cutting you in 2 pieces.
So let me try a mind trick on our viewers for a second. Now, I'm not a Jedi. I'm just dressed like one, but I'm going to try. You will subscribe. You will like. You will comment. And we'll see if it worked, okay?
Yeah, okay. All right.
Oh.
Do you own a droid?
That's funny. I don't remember owning a droid. Before we go, I have something for you.
Okay. For me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, that's right.
So we've got to announce the winner of our last episode, which was I can't remember what.
That was role playing.
No, we did the role playing games. So the winner of the prize from that episode is Texas Jack. I just like saying that, Texas Jack. It's like,
so Texas Jack, if you will contact us, the information is down in the description. We will get that prize to you. Okay.
Right. All right.
I have something for you. Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough, but your uncle wouldn't allow it. He was afraid you'd follow old Ben on some downfall idealistic mission like your father. It's your father's lightsaber. It's the weapon of a Jedi. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. A more eloquent weapon for a more civilized age.
Look at that.
Ooh.
Oh, crap. I guess we're done. Oh, man, I'm so sorry, bro.
Just to talk about some of the merchandise that I've gotten for Obi Wan Kenobi over the years. Probably one of the first pieces I ever got was when I was 11. My father bought this for me. This came out in 1977. And shut up, R2. And it was like $5. Got it from Service Merchandise. You can still find them today, but I just thought that was a good likeness of Alec Guinness. This piece here come out in 1999. Now this is a Hasbro, come from episode 1. And you're looking at a $25 figure. And all things considered, I thought it was a good likeness of Ewan McGregor. And, you got cloth clothing, and they really don't make anything like that now for that price. This right here is a sideshow figure from Ewan McGregor in episode 2. And that came out in 2003, and that run about $200. So there's a big difference between $25 and $200, and whether or not it's worth it, I'll leave that up to you. Another figure from episode 3, Ewan McGregor is Obi Wan, and there again, that one was a little over $200. This figure here is actually a custom figure I made based on a Mythos statue. Now, they've come out with a Mythos figure since then, but I actually made this one out of a real cheap Hasbro figure with a custom head. And that's supposed to be Obi-Wan between episodes 3 and 4, kind of where the Kenobi series was based. This is another sideshow figure. And this is, of course, Alec Guinness. Now, Hot Toys has made a lot of these. They've had some premium formats. This is the first one I got. I really like the detail in the lightsaber. I really like the likeness of the figure. Thought they did a great job. And that's another one of those expensive figures. This is a book series that come out. Of course, Marvel Comics has got a new Obi Wan series. And so far, it's been pretty decent. I've enjoyed it. On a trip we took recently, I saw somebody had fan-made one of these Obi Wan Kenobi it's a window cling. You put it in a window, and then the light shines through it, makes it look like stained glass. I thought that was kind of cute. Years ago, probably my most expensive piece is this here. Park Sabers made some lightsabers, and they still make them and sell them online. He custom makes them, and I mean, this is all steel, machined, tool and die type stuff. Super heavy, super sturdy. And I picked this up from Obi Wan Kenobi outfit years ago. Now, I aged it. You could buy an aged one, but I aged it myself, and I aged it in a way with paint that I could remove it if I ever wanted a clean copy of it. But like this rust here you see is actually just some Elmer's glue with little spices thrown into it. So it gives an illusion of rust, and if I ever want to take it off, I can scrape it off pretty easy, and there's no damage to the blade whatsoever. So all this is paint that could be removed if I wanted it to. And that is pretty much my Obi Wan Kenobi merchandise.